I think you probably have a very core role in terms of some of those foundation skills that people will need as they then go out into work in companies and take on leadership roles, and also think about sort of innovation and developing new things for the future. You know, lots of the really exciting things I see have come from some really great ideas, which then can build and scale in partnerships, etc., from a distribution point of view. And I suppose the sorts of skills that the individuals in a business school need, there are sort of a whole core level that I'm sure are, you know, part of your core curriculum in terms of the understanding companies and the financials, etc. But actually, I think many of the things are much more behavioural in terms of understanding that sort of an environment of constant change is actually normal. And therefore, how do you support an organisation and drive an organisation that's faced with constant change? And we obviously see that in our clients and in the world around us, but that's not necessarily comfortable for the people who work there. You know, so therefore, providing the ability to say, you know, how do you form a vision even when you know that things will change. Actually, by definition, you should never deliver your vision. If you're getting close to delivering your vision, you probably need to change it and give people a purpose and a direction, whilst also dealing with the here and now. So I think that a lot of particularly in large companies, how you deal with the people and the cultural side of things in adapting to change is as important as what's our business strategy for taking advantage of this or adapting to it.
So it's that sort of broad skills, and then we talked about the digital skills, obviously, and then you talked about the relationship skills. So how do you think we can bring in soft skill development? Is this something that we should bring in, or is that something that they should learn in the workplace?
I imagine there's a role for both, in that as educational environment, and particularly at an MBA level where you're getting quite a lot of exposure and you've come with some experience, I think learning about what makes the difference in leadership and some of the theory as well, and then an opportunity to put that into practice, I think is something that would be useful as people do some of their project work. My experience is that what's required from you as a leader is inevitably changing at different stages in your career, and there isn't one model therefore that you can learn and say that's a leadership model, because it depends on the role and the size of the team and your role within it. My personal experience was that as you grow up through taking on leadership responsibilities, at the early stages it often is much more of you're just sort of almost leading by example, and it's a showing and doing. But obviously, as you grow in the scale of what you need to do, how you actually lead a team and have a team who are really effective is actually the most important leadership skill. It's not about the person who is the leader or the figurehead. It's actually how they get a really well balanced and functioning team. And that is not necessarily a comfortable position either, because an effective team should have times where there are tensions and you're feeling that, hopefully the benefit that comes from different ideas and points of view, while still having the rigour and discipline of how do we make decisions and progress in an effective way. So I imagine that somehow modelling those different stages and ideas around leadership would be really effective. Personally, I'd have probably preferred to have seen some of those earlier in my career than I did.